Hi, sixth grade scientists. This is a reading of Station 3. As I read, please follow along on your assignment sheet and pause the video as needed to answer the questions that go along with this. Predominant winds and explorers' routes. This is for the Atlantic wind patterns. In the early 15th century, Europeans first sailed out of sight of the coastlines of Europe, venturing into the Atlantic Ocean. To navigate the Atlantic, sailors had to learn to harness the ocean's wind systems, which flow in gigantic wind wheels. North of the equator, a wind carousel revolves clockwise, while south of the equator, another spins counterclockwise. Notice the images here. Still with the Atlantic wind patterns. Both wind wheels produce westerly winds and broad bands of air known as the trade winds. Near the equator, right here, off the African coast, there occurs a phenomenon known as the doldrums. Detested by sailors, the doldrums lack strong winds, producing an area of dead calm that would trap ships and threaten the crews with death by thirst and starvation. That completes the Atlantic wind pattern section. Now, on to specifically the Canary Islands. This vast system was understood when Europeans struggled to make the return voyage from the Canary Islands. The clockwise spinning winds of the North Atlantic would carry a ship directly to the Canaries. The difficulty lay in the return voyage along the same route. The ship would face strong contrary winds, the very winds that had brought it to the Canaries in the first place. The solution was to sail around the wind, that is, to steer as closely to the wind as possible for as long as it took until a wind was found that took the ship to its destination. From the Canary Islands, a ship rode the northwest trade winds in the opposite direction of Europe. After many days, the ship eventually encountered the westerlies that returned it to Europe. So we've got this pattern here. The alternating use of the trade winds on the outward leg, then the slide off to the northwest to catch the westerlies, is known as the Volta maneuver. Ding, ding, ding. Which played a critical role in the later voyages of several European explorers. Now for Diaz. The Portuguese captain Bartolomeu Diaz made the next important navigational discovery when he skirted along the western coast to Africa. Gale winds forced him out to sea. After 13 days, he returned around and reached the southernmost point of Africa, discovering the passage from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean. It's exciting stuff right there. Now, on to Columbus, 1492. The next explorer to utilize the Volta maneuver was Christopher Columbus. From the Canary Islands, he turned his ships south and west to harness the power of the trade winds. This made for a speedy voyage to the West Indies, and this route was the favorite of sailors for generations. Columbus then proceeded to the Bahamas into the Greater Antilles. Eager to return to Europe, Columbus decided to gamble on the Volta maneuver. He slid northeast to the latitudes where the westerlies were supposed to occur. He was correct and found them north of the equator. He slid off to the westerlies and rode safely back to Spain. Good job, Columbus. Da Gama in 1497. Inspired by Diaz's journey to the opening of the Indian Ocean, Vasco da Gama decided to try for Asia. To avoid the doldrums and the southeast trade winds, he headed into the open Atlantic and used the north and west trades to sail around the Cape of Good Hope. Vasco managed to reach India because he was helped by local people with precise navigational knowledge. And because the Indian Ocean has dependable monsoon winds, which allow a ship to go out and return via the same route. Now, monsoon sailing. From local seafaring cultures, Europeans learned of this seasonal cycle during the summer. Temperatures increase over Asia, pulling the air inland to the base of the Himalayan mountains. Sailors used the summer monsoons to reach India, just as they used the wind wheel system to traverse the Atlantic. The colder temperatures of the winter reverse the airflow, pushing the air outward away from the continent. This creates a seasonal alternation of air movements, and for centuries, sailors rode the winter monsoon winds from India to Africa. Thanks for listening. Good luck on the rest of your work.